everyone, and welcome to Storm the Castle Week at the Martinsburg-Berkeley County Public Libraries. So this week we're talking about castles, and Amy did a craft with you earlier on with Rapunzel, and you made a tower with Rapunzel in it. So, and I guess last week or the week before you may have done ogre bowling with Katrina. So you've made some castles and made some castle walls. So what we're going to do today is talk about catapults. Catapults are a mechanical device, or mechanical devices. There's three different types that we kind of categorize them in. We have ballistas, onagers, and trebuchets. And the basic gist of all of these types of catapults are to fling an object at a wall or at a castle or over the wall or over the castle. So that's the general gist. Recently, you may have done pumpkin chunkin. I know North Berkeley Library has a 10-foot catapult. So North Berkeley Library actually has an operational catapult, and they do pumpkin chunkin once a year. They when the catapult's in operation, it's actually, we've had it probably for about 10 years now, and had some really good fun. There is a video of the North Berkeley Library. It's an onager catapult, and it is available on in our video feed. So if you go to the Martinsburg Library Facebook page and go into our video feed, you can see the catapult in operation. It's quite a fun time. So anyway, today we're talking about catapults. Catapults were first known in history. The first time we've ever seen it written down was in 399 BC, and the Greeks used a catapult. Now, the French famously sieged Dover in the 1200s using a catapult. But the really neatest thing I learned from history is, and actually I read it because I was curious, and read this book on the bubonic plague. And in this book, it talks about incidences in the Middle Ages during the bubonic plague when enemies flung infected bodies over castle walls in order to infect the people inside the city or inside the castle with bubonic plague. So that's kind of gross, but that is a recorded instance in history when catapults were used. So we have a lot of books here, by the way, at the Martinsburg-Berkeley County Public Libraries that involve catapults, both fiction and nonfiction. And I do have them listed for you in this paper, which is either available as a PDF on our website in the Summer Reading Program July packet, or you can stop by your library and get a packet with all of the PDFs in it and supplies that you will need for this craft. So anyway, we're going to talk about, we're going to put together this catapult, and we'll talk about some of the mechanics involved. A catapult is a lever. So we're talking about a fulcrum and actually doing some work in a simpler way, which is what a catapult does, because it would be almost impossible for somebody to fling an object as far as objects can be flung with a catapult mechanically without the use of a spring, which is basically what our rubber band and fulcrum are acting like. So, all right. So the first thing you're going to do is take 2 of the tongue depressors that came in your packet, or grab 2 tongue depressors from around the house, or craft sticks, whichever you want to call them, and 1 rubber band, and wind the rubber band around the bottom, putting 2 of the tongue depressors together. So then you've got a stack of tongue depressors left. Doesn't matter how many you have in the stack. What this is doing is creating height. So it is going to affect the trajectory, the distance, and the force of the object that's being flung. So on either end of the stack, I'm just going to loop those together so that they don't fall apart. So now you've got a stack of tongue depressors and a pair of tongue depressors just with 1 end rubber band. So we're going to pry open the other end of the pair of tongue depressors and slide in, wedge in the stack of tongue depressors. Now, wherever you put this, as you can tell, it makes the tongue depressors go closer or further apart. That is going to change the fulcrum point, which right now is right here. It's going to change the force of the object being flung. So you're actually affecting the trajectory and you're affecting the outcome of the catapult, so of object being catapulted. So then there's a couple more rubber bands. Just wrap those around, make an X. And what that's going to do is it's going to make certain that this doesn't move while we're using the catapult. So now you have a basic cross shape, and we can put on the bucket for the catapult. Now the bucket is very important because and it truly was in olden times, it truly was a bucket. They would put whatever stone or whatever they were looking for in the bucket and then just fling it. So anyway, I'm using glue stick, probably not the best thing to use for this project because it should be a stronger glue. So if you have a stronger glue, that would be amazing and awesome. For this one, I used a glue dot, and that seems to work just fine. This will need to dry thoroughly before I use it, so I'll put that aside. And we'll use this one just to show you. I also did one with a metal bucket on it, and that seems to work just fine too. So got my little object here, and let's put a castle wall. Let's make a great big castle wall here. And you can use the castle wall that you, or the Rapunzel's castle, and try to storm that if you want, that you made the other day. So let's see if we can fling this object over top of the castle wall. So let's see, I'm going to hold down the front just so that it's stationary, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to flick the back, and I'm going to see if it makes it over the castle wall. Whoa, yeah, it did make it over the castle wall. Let's try that again. I'm going to use the top of this. Let's see if I can fling this over the castle wall. Let's move it back a little bit. Remember I said we can change the trajectory? So I'm making the gap not so much. And we'll see if I can just hit the castle wall now. Ah, that didn't make it very far. Did you see how it changed the trajectory? Let's see if we can change the trajectory again and let it hit the castle wall. Oh, no, that went over too. All right, see what you can do to play around with this and storm the castle. So I hope you're having a good summer reading program, and hope you're enjoying making your very own catapult. And don't break anything with it. All right, and don't use any heavy objects like rocks. Only use something light in it. All right, thanks so much, and y'all have a good summer reading program.